Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to ask question number 104 of 2015 to the Honourable Minister, the Attorney General, Minister for Finance, Minister for Public Enterprises, Minister of Public Service and Communications. In relation to sponsorship of government programs, events or initiatives by private organizations, can the Minister advise if any legislation is in place to facilitate this? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. I give the floor to the Honourable Attorney General, Minister for Finance, Public Enterprises, Public Service and Communications.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I thank the Honourable Member for this question. Madam Speaker, there is no specific legislation that stops or controls sponsorship of government programs per se. There is, of course, a restriction on advertising by tobacco companies that includes in public space, whether it's government or in the private sector. Thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary question, the Honourable Salatul Nrondo. Sorry, I've called on the Honourable Salatul Nrondo. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Can the Honourable Minister advise how or what plans are in place to be able to address potential conflicts that may arise between the operations of the government and the private sector? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Attorney General.
Madam Speaker, I hope the Honourable Member would be a bit more specific. But obviously, if there is any conflict of any interest that may arise, then if she means whether the sponsorship by a particular event by a hotel and therefore we're going to stay at that hotel, obviously those conflicts would be avoided. The standard procedures need to be followed.
Thank you. I give the floor to the Honourable Nico Noikula.
Madam Speaker, the point that I wish to make is that, when you have a private company sponsoring a government show, for example, there's likely to be conflict. It breeds corruption. And you need definite guidelines, because otherwise it will lead to favoritism. Does the Honourable Minister agree that there needs to be a standardization or a measurement or a legislation to cover that?
Thank you. Honourable Attorney General.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honourable Member, I refer him to the Constitution. There's a provision regarding the standards of what the PSC must follow and what civil servants must follow. That obviously also talks about specifically for the first time in any of the Fijian constitutions about how it needs to be corruption-free. In terms of conflicts arising, for example, the one that comes to mind that the Minister of Agriculture is interested in is obviously, for example, the agricultural show. So you'll have Crushed Chicken sponsoring that, because obviously they want more farmers to grow chickens. The Fijian government does not buy chickens, so obviously there won't be a conflict. If we were to go off and buy chickens from Crushed Chicken at the expense of other chicken companies, then obviously there will be a problem. But these are the areas where private sector companies do come in. But I think the general guidelines obviously rest ultimately under the Constitution. And should there be any corruption, of course, now we have FICAC. We have other mechanisms through these can be brought up, and indeed people can be reported within the system. Thank you.
Thank you. I give the floor to the Honourable Ratukini William Keliraki.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Best practice dictates that sponsorship arrangements should also be included in public authorities' annual reports. Can the Minister advise if sponsorships arrangements have been declared or included in the annual reports published? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Attorney General.
Madam Speaker, that obviously is a question that I need to go back and read the annual reports of companies. I can provide that information to him later on.
Thank you.